And we'll start this off right away with Dan Castle. Dan, would you like to come up? And Dan is with the Erie County Development of Environmental and Planning. I believe you are the Deputy Commissioner.
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
So thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you regarding the Ag Planning Grant Program that Erie County offers through the Office of Agriculture. But I just want to be clear on one thing, and that's which hat I'm wearing tonight. Usually I sit over here. So most of you probably know me as the guy that's been on the Village Planning Commission for a long time, and that I have. But the hat I'm wearing tonight is...
In planning, I believe you are the Deputy Commissioner.
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
So thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you regarding the...
I just didn't catch that part, so I wanted to review and make sure I got it, but all good.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So the hat I'm wearing tonight is as the Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Environment and Planning. I oversee the group that is the Planning and Economic Development Division. And so that's the hat I'm wearing as I speak to you tonight. So one of the groups that I oversee in the department is the Office of Agriculture. It's a fairly new office within the county. It's something that County Executive Poloncarz created a couple of years ago to really provide some focused support on the rural and agricultural portions of the county. So we do the ag districts. We do Erie Grown website. If you've ever had a chance to look at that, if not, you should check it out. It's a link where you can go directly to find farmers and farms and other agricultural businesses directly. You can search by location. You can search by produce, whatever. It's a very interesting website that connects consumers to the farmers. But one of the things that we offer is the ag planning grants. So each year, the last couple of years, be the second year, we have about $75,000 in our budget to offer to municipalities to update their comprehensive plans or their zoning, ag aspects of their zoning, or farmland protection plans at the town level. This really started out of the concern that we have with the ability of the codes and to help municipalities influence solar development and other renewable development on farmland. We want to balance promoting renewable development with protecting our best farmland. So depending on the size of the solar development, for example, there's limited amounts of, there are certain ways municipalities can influence that decision on siting and permitting. One of the most defensible ways is to have updated comp plan that addresses ag and solar issues and to have that reflected in your zoning. There's model zoning codes out there from NYSERDA and others, but the intent of this program is to help leverage municipal funds to update your various planning ordinances, plans, and what have you, whatever. I'm not sure of the status of your plans specifically in the town of Aurora, but last year we funded 5 projects. Their comp plans or zoning updates in Concord, Sardinia, Colden, North Collins, and Eden. So we are about to roll out the application again this year to look exactly like the one last year. And we hope to have that out by this Friday with a deadline of still to be determined, but second or third week of September. That allows us to review all the applications, see which ones we prioritize based on need or what you want to do, and allows us to get it through the county process and the legislature by the end of the year because they're this year funds. So that's really what I wanted to mention, to be on the lookout if you in the town of Aurora have a need for updating any of your plans or ordinances. That's what this program is for.
That would go ahead.
No, I just agree.
That would be great, Dan, because we're in the process of going through our ODA code and we've talked about the solar code, how we want that to read. We've talked about battery farms, what that should say in there.
Yep.
Can this tie into a multitude of things or?
Sure. This is exactly what the money is for, is to help you sort out what you want your codes to say and update them. Like I said, there's a lot of model codes out there and that you can just tweak for the needs of the town. And this is money to offset hiring consultants, professional services to offset the costs of doing that.
Did you say it was matching funds or?
Well, we're trying to leverage the funds as best we can. I mean, it's not necessarily a 50-50 match. We want municipality to provide some funding because then you have skin in the game and our money goes farther. So we won't really know until we see how many applications we get. If we only get 4 or 5 and we can fund them all, we'll fund as much as we can. That's what we did last year. There was a couple towns that we looked at the priority last year, and certainly there's a high priority in Concord and Sardinia because of the pressure they're seeing, and Eden, particularly because of the quality of the farmland. So we look at the quality of the applications and then try to spread the money around as best we can.
And is the application is for ag use specifically?
I'm sorry, it's for?
Ag use specifically, or for agricultural land, or?
Well, it's for any comp plan update or zoning or solar ordinance update that, the idea is to promote farmland protection. That's what we're trying to do. So, and balance, when you're trying to influence the siting of solar projects, you can't just say, no, we don't want them. The courts won't allow that. But what they will give you is some flexibility in saying, we don't want them here, but we'll allow them here. And you've got to allow them. And if you be proactive and talk about where in the town you'd like to encourage them, you have a much better chance of influencing any siting decisions that are made by others as well. So we're trying to get to the ag and farmland protection piece of it. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does.
I know when we did our solar code, it was a bunch of years ago. It's pretty tight because, it was new. We didn't want to allow it in a lot of places, and it's now developed. So it is a good time to take a relook at it. And maybe there are areas that it opens up to at this point, now that we know more.
Yep.
And my question to you with another hat on, like your town village hat, is there a somebody that maybe submitted last year who you think did that may have the same issues that we do, or that might help us to?
Well, Concord submitted last year. There's a little different, but they're right next door. Or Concord.
Was Colton's submission for the full comp plan? I know they've been going through that.
Yeah, Colden. Yeah, it was to put an ag. If I recall, it was to create an ag element to their comp plan, add an ag portion, then update zoning to reflect that ag vision, just to give them the basis of any legal challenges or
So
citing.
our stronger application or to get more funds is if we are going to be ag centric, right? To have that agricultural solar part of it.
Yep.
So it's not just we want to do a comprehensive plan.
No, it's not that. It's look, we have concerns over siting solar and renewable facilities and the loss of farmland, or we just want to make sure we're seeing a lot of development pressure for converting lands to non-agricultural uses. So that's really what it is. Make sure your codes are up to date where you want them to better address those issues when they come before you.
And are you seeing wind pressures as well, or not as much?
We're not seeing much wind at all right now. The push is solar. We're seeing that all over the place. We've got 4 of them that we're looking at right now just within the past 6 weeks. And most of the ones that you're seeing are, the 2 to 5 megawatts. So they're, 10, 15, 20 acres. But they're chipping away because, you want to balance a farmer's ability to, manage their land and get some financial benefit, or if they don't have an owner transition. We're not about to tell the landowners what to do, but this is to give you the tools to be as responsive as you need to be when they come before you.
Is there anything that you've seen the town doing to encourage small family farming and things like that in a situation, or is that we're really not left with?
Have I seen other towns?
Other towns implement programs like Eden has a lot of farms, Concord has a lot of farms. We have farmland, but it's it's not being used.
Well, Eden is always, I mean, I always try to look to what Eden's doing. They're working on a solar pilot now where they're in negotiations, not only for the pilot payment, but for an ag mitigation payment to be paid over years that they will use for their own ag and farmland protection efforts. So I have not been involved with it. I can't speak to details, but you could speak with Supervisor Hartman and she could fill you in on what they're doing.
They have a beautiful comprehensive plan.
Yeah. But they're able to generate a source of revenue to implement it, which is good too.
So if we wanted to do that application, Dan, are you sending anything out or is it?
Yeah, we'll send it out to our normal listserv, which I think Martha, you're on, to municipal planning officials and town boards and clerks. We'll send, do a wide emailing out with the application by the end of the week.
Okay, great.
All right.
Any other questions from
How many points do we get right off the bat having a town of Aurora resident?
None. Matter of fact, I should have been clear that I recused myself. That's why it was clear on the hat. She knows. When you send in your 239 reviews and things like that, that goes to I recuse myself from any village or town issues at the county. So just to avoid any of those. That's why I started being clear who I was talking on behalf of. So.
Well, thank you for the
Okay.
information.
Yeah,
Sure thing.
thank you.
Thanks, Dan, for taking time to come up.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, next we have my secretary, Elizabeth Glover, and I've asked her to look into our charging station out there, which just to give a little history, when we went and got that grant, we were just in the process of doing this project, but we had to get it installed and operational that year to get the station for basically free. And I think we ended up paying a little bit just to install it. But our whole idea was to bring it to East Aurora, where there wasn't one here, and make it available to our residents at no cost. And then once we got into the building, we would figure out what kind of a cost, not to make money, but to try to break even on it. And Elizabeth has gotten some information here for us.
Okay, as you guys can see, there's a few handouts that I put in the packet. From doing my research and downloading the app and talking to people at ChargePoint, which is the software company that we've engaged in that takes care of the charging stations, and we pay a iCloud software to yearly. But through that and just researching, you'll see the first thing is a graph of this area, Erie County. There are quite a bit that don't charge for the use of the stations, but it's like, say, the condos in Buffalo, downtown, it's for tenants only. There's a few that will be for employees only, like Cheektowaga, the town of Cheektowaga. It's only available for people that work for the town. So the people that do charge, a lot of them are businesses or car dealers. And basically, it's what I propose is like what Jim said, just to get some of the cost, because for the first 3 years there was when it started, they gave it the iCloud software for free. So it's like built in to incentives to get you to sign up and different grants and monies. So that's why the 15 cents per kilowatt is what I recommended. But also people tend to sit there, even as I researched Tesla. After you charge, every 15 minutes is 25 cents. So for an hour, it's $1 right off the bat. But what's happening is for a year, each unit, so we have 2 units that are $329 each for just the software. When you start to charge, ChargePoint will take 10% for a calculation fee. So that's built into the cost. Also, with all the new technology, we need to upgrade by the end of the year to 4G. So that's another cost. So that's in here too. So you have the graph, and then you have the contract for the software. That's, they quoted me 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years. So for the first year, it's what I told you, it's $329 per unit. So it's $658 for the year. So that's what we did last year. So we paid that. So going forward, we have to renew. And these are without tax, these quotes. So you save for the 3 year, just under $200. And for 5 years, you save over $652 total. So those are some incentives to sign on a contract for a longer period of time. Those are the discounts. So basically what it is 2 years, you get 5% off. 3 years, every year after you get 5% more off of the price for the software. And so when I say software, I mean, and I have it here on my phone, anybody who wants to look, I don't know if you want me to come closer,
No,
but
we don't.
this shows you like a picture of the site downstairs, and it will tell you if it's available or not, who the last car that used it, when they used it, times that are when it's popular, we're using it more, which usually is midday or at night. And there's also, people can put little at the bottom tips, and it can help businesses too by using the app, because it could say like, oh, while you're charging, go across the way to Del Oreo's and get a slice, or something like that. Cause I saw that with other sites. So it can help businesses around the area too, because they can add that on the bottom of it.
So to use this charging station, you need to get an app on your phone.
Yes, you have to download
And
that.
So you look to see where there's a station, and then
Yep.
all the payments and everything go through that app.
Yes.
So we don't have to do anything.
Nope.
It'll tell you what we charge.
Yep.
And again, after the charging stops, then there's a $2 an hour fee for the car to sit there, because especially what we notice is someone will plug their car in and leave it there all night.
Yes.
And that's not fair for everyone else. So
No.
again,
So-
we're not trying to make money with it. We're just trying to recover costs.
Right. So that's 15 minutes after their charge is done. So it gives them 15 minutes. So if they do go for pizza or go somewhere, they'll know, okay, time's up. Got to go get back the car. I got 15 minutes. Because after that, $2 an hour. There are a lot of other fees that you can tack on too. There are some people, there's a car dealership, I think it's Mercedes up north, and they charge right off the bat $1 or $2 just to plug in. So there are a lot of fees you can tack on. These are just the ones that I thought would be relevant to recoup the cost. And what looks like in the area, that's what others are doing. And we can change it at any point. If the board feels that we need to readjust over time, we can do that. And also by doing this as well, on the app and on the actual unit, it will tell people that are charging now, like say you guys decide as of September 1st, this is what we're going to do. It will tell them as of September 1st, if you charge here, this is the cost. So there's no work for the town. It's all done for you.
And do we know what our usage is today, so that we know that extra 15 cents per kilowatt?
What's going to happen is I'd better know once we start charging, but because it's attached to the senior center. So I had Kathleen Moffett help me with that, because she does all the claims for that. But, and we contact NYSEG, and so the answer is 6 cents per kilowatt right now is the guesstimate. So that's why
It costs us. Is that what
yes,
you're saying, that it costs us?
yes,
And
right
we're
now.
charging 15.
Yes,
cents.
because we have to pay for all these extra fees. So-
Once
How
we
many
start
kilowatts
charging,
a year do we use? Do we know?
That I don't know.
but so once we start charging, we'll be able to track it.
Right. So then
'Cause
if we
then-
feel like that's too much, we can adjust it. But even the contractors suggested that we do 15 cents per kilowatt. And I know people that have electric cars and it costs them about 11 cents per kilowatt from their homes. So it's really,
Still
I-
reasonable.
our prices here are probably lower because of we're a municipality. So again, we can always adjust it as we go along and see if it's too much. And
So on your option 1, 2, and 3,
yes,
you would take that price and double it?
no, that is the price.
That's per charging, right? We have 2.
For the software, you're gonna double it because we have 2, correct? So if you're looking at the first page, it gives you the price for both. But if you're looking at the third page after the contract, you can see that it shows both separately.
Oh, okay, I see.
So you can see that it's
Okay.
per unit.
So option 1 for 2 years would be $6.50.
No, that's for 1 year, option 1,
For 1 year. Then
Option-
option 2 is
3 years,
3 years, and that's $17.78.
correct,
And option 3 is for
5 years,
5 years. And that's $2,638.
correct,
Divided by 5 years.
right,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's not per year.
not per year,
Per
for 5 years
5
total,
years. Yeah.
For the 5 years total.
total,
So you would take that 2,638 and divide it by 5.
correct.
What other municipalities are providing this service?
Right now, locally in Erie is Cheektowaga. Genesee, I looked at too. They charge for their, I can tell you exactly what it is. They also on the app, it'll give you an estimate. So for theirs, it's $3 estimate for total for 2 hours, but their energy fee is $1.50 an hour. And again, charging fee of after 15 minutes, $2 an hour, which is what I was recommending.
Do you have an idea how long it takes to, obviously it depends how dead the battery is, but do you have an idea how long it takes to charge a Tesla
Okay.
or one typical vehicle?
Right. Okay. So we're considered a level 2. Many houses have just level 1. So we're level 2. There's like superchargers that are level 3, just to give you an idea. So ours is pretty fast. It's level 2. So it could take if somebody's low, like 2 hours, tops 3 to charge,
Really?
completely charge or less.
Is a question?
No, I was hoping to comment. Is that possible this time?
Well, we'll allow it. Yeah, sure.
Well, I came here in an electric car. I'm currently plugged in downstairs. So I thought this was a good time.
Could we have your name, please?
Sorry, my name is Evan Rowe.
And
the mic. 2037 Grover Road, Grover.
Gotta speak
Okay.
into it.
Okay, it's working. So I came here in an electric car. The range is about 30 miles, and it takes about 2 hours to charge up on the thing downstairs. So it's a hybrid car. After you drive for a bit, it turns to gas. So it has a bigger range, but whatever. Most municipalities do not charge for charging. Some add a fee if you're there for more than an hour after it's charged, because you're taking up the charge point, that someone else is using. And it makes sense to charge that fee because it means that more people can use this public amenity. Most charge points are free in New York State. And the most expensive currently is 10 cents per kilowatt hour with $1 an hour charge fee. And that's in the Buffalo parking garages in the city of Buffalo. Because, those are, of course, in very high demand. So they need the fee to disincentivize use. Here in East Aurora, based on the ChargePoint app, about 90% of the time, one of the 2 chargers is free. And about 95% of the time, there is a charger available within half an hour. So people aren't usually waiting. So you don't really need to put in a fee to disincentivize active use, only use after it's fully charged. So If you implement this fee, it's going to decrease use substantially. I mean, the reason we got an electric vehicle was because we had access to charging so that we could drive to the village, charge up fully, and then drive back home, because we couldn't drive to and from on a single charge. That's been excellent. I've been able to, eat at Pizza Del Oreos and go to Cornerstone quite frequently because I park always at the senior center for about, 2 hours, 2.5 hours to charge up. If you make this change, it'll disincentivize use. People will not use the ChargePoint app because the ChargePoint app requires that you put in a card number in order to use a ChargePoint station that charges a fee. Most ChargePoint stations don't, so most users of the ChargePoint app don't put in a credit card number. They also do not usually charge a fee per kilowatt hour. It's most traditionally after the vehicle is charged, please remove your vehicle within an hour, and then we'll start charging a fee. If you implement this change, assuming that no demand changes happen, you'll probably recoup about $80 a year. It'll take about 90 years before you recoup the costs of the device. So it wouldn't really make a lot of sense to implement this change as a money-making maneuver. It's more of a change as to encourage people to use electric vehicles, because right now in New York State, electric vehicles are far more efficient and they're better for the environment. So as a village and as a town, we need to be looking at ways to increase the use of electric charging, not decrease it. As an example, Erie County recently instituted chargers all over the county parks, and they've been a remarkable success. People go to the parks more, and they use the chargers to charge up while they're walking around and then head home. Most villages
Okay,
are the same.
I
Thanks.
got to cut you a little short.
Sorry.
It'll be over 3 minutes. So.
Thank you.
Anything else, Liz? Thank you for your comments.
No, like I said, the graph here shows you all the ones that charge, and 25 of them charge 15 cents per kilowatt in Erie County. He's right. Some of them do not charge a fee, but some of them are for only employees or tenants and things like that. So.
Yeah,
I guess for me, with what, and I know it's difficult to get it, but what is the actual usage per year here? Are we talking the town is spending $200 or how big of a fee is this on or not a fee, but how big of a
well, you're
charge
looking
is
at,
it?
you see what we have to charge in software. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess the decision we have to make is, do we want to give this out free? I know we want to incentivize it, but we don't give out free gas for cars either.
Right. It's.
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
fair to all taxpayers to pay for just some taxpayers.
Yeah,
Here's the rub. If it's costing us less than it costs us for this software, then I would say don't charge, because we're saving money. Right? So how do we figure that out? What is it costing us today per year to dole out at the rate we're doling out now?
Well, we're gonna have to get the software either way, correct?
Yes, correct. Or else you can't
We
use
need
it.
the software anyway.
Yes. It's going to go down December 9th if we don't renew.
Well, I did a little
And
bit.
we have to do the 4G too. It won't work.
I did a little bit of quick math not long before we came here, actually. And if we're charging 15 cents per kilowatt hour and it's costing us 6 cents per kilowatt hour, obviously our gross profit is 9 cents per kilowatt hour.
Right.
If we're paying $329, that came out to 152 days to pay for that at 9 cents per kilowatt hour. So unless I got something wrong in there, I think that, I don't think it's right, as Jim said, that taxpayers pay for other people's way of transportation.
It's not we're not making money on
No, we
this.
don't want to make.
No,
money.
we're not
Just
making-
As Sue says, if we can figure it out so it's a break even, I'm good with it.
I mean, we want it as low as possible. So we're gonna have to take a stab somewhere and then monitor, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I said.
We
We
can-
can change it.
We can change that 15 cents right
Yes,
at any time.
can.
And
Yes.
I have a feeling that,
I can go in
Maybe a
right
lot of
now and
cars-
change it.
I have
So,
a feeling there'll be cars that get left there all night, know, at least
Correct.
now they do it.
That's what I was gonna say with the maintenance, because we have to plow it. It appears it's not just gentlemen coming here to go to Cornerstone, it's people that actually live here. There's no reason they can't plug it in their own house. They basically use this as their overnight parking.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, Jim, it's the same people. And I hate to say it's a shame, because you got gentlemen like this probably has a great intent that's coming here for the real reason. And then you got other people just take advantage of it, and it sits here all night.
Right.
Well, we,
So I just want to make sure.
But that
you know
will
it's-
probably get curtailed when it costs them, you know, 10,
Well, those
12
things
bucks a
were-
night to leave it there.
It'd be nice to be free, but people always take advantage of it. And one, I think, lives 2 houses away where you could plug in his own house, you know, so. it's-
Well, also to your point, if you want something close by, Emery Park has two that are free. So if you want the free option, you can go to Emery Park.
well, this is a
Charge.
subsidy, right? The town of Aurora is providing, I mean, we don't have a gas station in the town of Aurora. That would be ridiculous, right? And eventually, I think that there will be electric charging stations throughout the village and the town. And so this probably won't need to be here anymore. At this time, I view it as a subsidy. We are subsidizing electric cars over gas cars. I just don't know what is the charge of that subsidy. So for me, it would be interesting to try to calculate how many cars are using this per day? Like what actual amount of the subsidy are we talking about? If it's $1,000, then.
I can't know that until we start charging. That's the problem. So I can tell you who's been charging in the last few days, but it won't tell me
So how many hours?
for how long. And it changes. It
Yeah.
will change depending on how many people are in there. So every week, every time I could go in there every day and it will change.
Well, how many
But-
kilowatts does it take to charge a car?
But others are doing this. So I mean, if we sign on for the program, and let's just say for 1 year, you know, we can change it once some of this stuff, you know, washes out a little
Correct.
bit and we see where we are on it, right? We can change the amount
Yeah.
that we charge at any time. We can
Yep.
cancel the contract after 1 year.
Yep.
If we say, you know what, this is just a total bust, or we say, gosh, this is great, let's sign up for 3. We just don't know at this point in time.
Right.
Well, we have to do that, right? We have to sign on, otherwise it's
Yes.
not gonna be used at all. So
Right.
that's the thing, I think
It will
the
shut
question
down.
is,
We have to sign on for 1 year. Yeah, we have to try it to figure it out.
We don't have to charge. We have to sign on no matter what if we're gonna continue.
Well, why
So-
would we do that? Why would we not charge?
It's a
Also-
subsidy, like it is now.
Also, just to give you an idea, for 4 years, the town has not been charging.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've got 4 years to recoup. And you have last year's software to
But
recoup.
we're not a business here, so that's, I think, how many kilowatts does it take to charge a car? If we're talking 6 cents per kilowatt, every time a car charges, how many? Yeah.
Well, it depends on the car.
Well,
It takes 30, but a Tesla would take 200. The average right now.
Yeah, it depends on the
is
car.
9 kilowatt hours per week of use. According to the act, for the past week.
So the app says 9 kilowatt hours per day or
Per week.
per week?
Past week.
9
No.
kilowatt hours?
9
You're saying it
kilowatt
costs
hours.
$1.05 to charge that car for a week?
Well, it's
No.
up again. I mean, the total number of usage, people have drawn about 9 kilowatt hours this week. It's like.
But it's hard to say like this week, a lot of people are not in town. So you could say this week, and then when you have reunion week, when it was constantly cars in there. So that's why I was saying like every week I go in there, every day I could go in there tomorrow and it'll be completely different. So
Well, we have to decide, do we want to put it on the agenda tonight? And if we do we want to, if we, over for it, do we want to do the 1, 2, or 1, 3, or 5-year plan? Do we want to charge or do we not want to charge? That's what we have to decide, whether we want to go forward and vote on it tonight.
I would say that, I mean, if we want, I would say that we want to provide the service to people that are coming into town. I mean, there isn't anything else in the village, right, where they can charge.
There is a Tesla charging
The-
station in the hotel.
there is, yeah, the Hampton.
All right.
Like,
So
like I said,
other
Emery
cars
Park.
can't use that.
There are businesses that
The
have it,
businesses
like
So it's
Fisher
not a
Price has
public
them
Place though, in
Public.
East Aurora where you can do it. And we
No.
want to,
right in town, no.
encourage people to come whether they have an electric car or not. So I think we want to continue it. And because I like to be frugal, I would say, do I think that we're going to continue this 5 years into the future? And I would say, yes, we've got the vested, we're here, this is our permanent home, we're not moving. We're the village and the town together, it's a public spot. So I would go with the 5-year plan, so it's much cheaper every year, you're only paying a couple hundred a year then.
Yes.
And then we can start with a charge. Maybe we
but-
go with $1, we go $1 for, the hour after.
Okay.
I like the rest of the proposal that she's got there.
Will you go from, just to give you an idea, to $130 for the software for each unit, as opposed to $329 if you do the 5-year?
Yeah.
Just to give you kind of, I said 652, but you break it down per unit. That's what it would cost if you did the 5-year. And into the future, we'll probably have to put another one, if demand meets that. So,
I mean, I don't
To
think it's
change the
exorbitant.
pricing, Liz, is this something that could be done easily? Do we have to?
Yes.
Do we have to?
I can
we
go
don't have to
in,
fill out
write it out.
17 forms and get,
No, I can go in and switch
I
it.
say, sure.
So I would say we definitely put it on the agenda for the approval. 5 years sounds good to me as well. And then I'd like to really see, what is the cost of encouraging the use of electric cars? Is it really 9 kilowatt hours a week here, or is it, costing us
Yeah, we can
thousands of
start
dollars
collecting
a
the
week,
data.
Right?
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the
intent would
plan,
be
track
to
it.
get it as close to, even as possible. Nobody's trying to
Right,
make
That's-
money here.
right.
So go ahead and put it on the agenda for what Elizabeth is recommending.
Yeah.
Well, for the services, right? Yeah. And then you can decide on charging the amount.
Well, I think, Sue, your recommendation was do both.
Yeah, my question, I just threw it out there if we wanted to charge $1, once they're off, because, somebody might be in town and whatever, I think.
Right.
We could start out at, I'd rather start out at $1 and then,
$1 an hour.
and then go $2 if
Per hour.
people are not being good citizens.
Okay, so you want that for the kilowatt or you want it for
The after.
after the sitting, I call it,
At-
but
Sitting.
At our
It's
board
a
meeting, we'll
charging
make a
fee.
motion. Someone
Yeah.
will make a motion and it'll
Yeah.
get voted on.
okay,
How we wanna do it.
Right.
all right.
Yeah, when they're done charging, you have that
Right.
15-minute, you said, window, and then
$1.
if they're out after, and hopefully people won't abuse it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
Thank
because like
you.
I said, that's what Tesla does now. It's 25 cents per every 15 minutes, so $1 an hour. So-
We're not setting up a charge on the electricity use.
In addition to,
It's just the electric use falls charge.
it's in addition to.
It depends on the motion.
That continuing to be a subsidy, the free things, that's just me. I agree with we need the software, I agree with having it, I agree with the charge if you leave your car on there, that's
This
something we
one
don't
here.
want. But I don't know, I personally think that it was put in there with
4G.
the
Oh, we're gonna have.
state funds or
Yeah,
federal
so you
funds.
gotta go in there and write
Okay.
it.
Goal of encouraging electric car use in the town, and I think that, if these are minor costs like we think they are, then I'd rather subsidy it to get more electric cars out there, but if I'm one of minority
Yeah,
on that.
I think I struggle with these guys. I mean, like, I don't subsidize people's gas when they come into town. And so when you have electric car, you have to, assume you're gonna have to plug in somewhere.
I mean, even like the Tesla, they used to do free when we first came out, free for life, and they stopped that right away because you can't sustain it. There's a lot of people with electric cars now, so
We subsidize a lot of coal, and we subsidize a lot of things
Yeah.
based on what we want to pursue as a government policy, so I don't have any problem with the subsidy as long as it is a reasonable amount, but if I'm a minority here, then I'm in the minority.
All right, well, we'll put it on the agenda.
Just one last thing, Jim.
Yep.
So with this upgrade to 4G, this is just upgrading the modem. This is a one-time shot this year.
yes.
Or let's,
And
when we
two,
start this program and.
it has to be upgraded to
we have
4G.
to upgrade to
And
4G.
within, I asked them, can we upgrade to 5G? And they said, well, not everybody's got 5G, so we can't go right to 5G. We have to go to 4G, and then in another year or so, when everybody has 5G, we have to go to 5G again. So you're gonna have to do it again, buy another modem, have somebody come out and install it.
Gotcha.
That's how that goes.
Thank
I
you
mean,
very much.
Maybe you would recommend a different per kilowatt to charge instead of, if you feel like the 15 cents is too much. to start?
Is that a question to me?
Yeah,
Specifically?
because you're the one
Yeah.
who,
What do you think is not?
So I'm just-
I think that this was put in, and what are we in the business of charging cars for anyways? It's a policy that the town of Aurora has taken to encourage the use of electric vehicles. So why are we charging? It's a subsidy that we pay for to encourage electric cars. What is but I don't know the amount. Again, if it's tens of thousands of dollars, then
no.
yeah, we don't want to be spending taxpayer money. But if it's an amount that is small, that does encourage, this young gentleman to purchase an electric car or someone else, then I am for making that small subsidy as a positive change to the environment, locally and globally. But I don't know what the amount is that we're using right now. I'd like to know that. But I personally, we subsidize things all the time. I have no problem saying that the town of Aurora would like to take a policy to encourage the use of electric vehicles, and we will offer this free service for the next year or two or whatever we would decide.
Yeah, I feel like we've been there for.
It's
3
been
years
4
and we've been
years.
Offering it for free for 3 years.
And we
And,
have more
and
and
that's,
more
and
electric
now
cars.
we're
Well,
in a different
we
spot.
we can discuss this at the meeting when we make a motion into discussion time. And I think we're at that, we're gonna put it on the agenda, correct?
I think it's
Yep.
just made.
And then if you wanna make a motion,
It's all good.
Luke,
Whoever
we
wants to make the
better know
motion.
Once we start charging, and then we
But-
can change it. Because it's attached to the senior center.
Well, I think if we have
I
the
can't give you a
application,
finite
we could
number.
monitor it anyways. If we have the application and we have the ability to view what it is this week, we could start from now on, look at a month. What is it used per week?
Okay, but what we're paying for electricity wouldn't tell you through the app. So,
But-
But it'll tell us the number of kilowatt hours. If we know it's 6
but
cents
at
an
how
hour,
much?
it's gonna be pretty easy to determine what that amount is.
One more quick question.
I tried.
If they plug it in at home, you guys mentioned that it costs 11 kilowatts or 11 cents per kilowatt. Did you say that? Did I hear that right?
Yes, I
Okay.
asked my brother, he has a
Okay,
Tesla,
that's
and
fine.
it costs him 11 cents
Okay,
per
gotcha.
kilowatt in his
That's
home.
good.
So,
thank you very much, Elizabeth.
Okay.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks for the effort. I'm sure that was not easy to.
It was like
You did- you did great though.
It was like an act of God to get through all the information. So thank you for all the time that you put into that. All right, moving on. Number 3 is a temporary use permit for the cross-country event at Knox Park. Is anyone here? Say, well, want to come up front, please? Put you on the hot seat. And if you would, talk right into the mic so if anyone else is listening, they can hear. You've done this, not last year, but a couple years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. 2019 was the last time we had done it. And then as an offshoot, we also hosted the sectional championships in November.
Mhm.
And we've been asked to do that again this year, but we're not there yet.
Are you expecting the same amount of people that you had in the first one? Or
I would think so. Maybe possibly less because sometimes when it's connected to hosting the sectionals, teams will want to come and tour the course and race on it. And since most of the teams had that opportunity, we may not get quite as many this time around.
And I see you put a nice plan in, kind of like Borderlands.
Right. Yes. Thank you.
I think it's a wonderful event. I just want to make sure the last time it was being held, there was some traffic and parking problems, and that's the only concern I would have.
Right.
That an emergency vehicle would be able to get through, or no one would get hurt, especially on Gypsy where the curve is going down the hill. They were parking, and that's a real dangerous area.
Right.
So anything from you, Dave, on that, or?
No, I think you're right, Jim. I think, Walt, the main concern is Gypsy Lane. The first year you did it, we know there was a lot of problems. And then the second year we addressed them and it went off just fine.
Right.
So you're saying this year's event is on the smaller range compared to
Yeah,
that,
I would say I would just say it's the same.
right? Because the first year, wasn't that like a special sectional or something where
It was the first time we had hosted sectionals at that event. We had
it was
hosted
large?
the Knox Invitational prior, but that was the first time. And then when we hosted sectionals, we did make some improvements.
Yeah, and I think, Jim, what they
especially
did
the
different
parking.
was for the second year, they put all the school buses actually on Knox Road.
Yes.
And that freed up the parking in our regular parking lots. So that's the reason for closing Knox Road with the county. I talked to Garrett today and you're all set and approved. We got your
Thank you.
insurance to them. The only issue is whether you have to pay a fee or not, and they're not
Okay.
sure. I don't think you do because you're another tax entity,
Okay.
but they'll let me know if you do. It's $60. So
Okay, great.
he's all approved by the county.
Yeah, we definitely had some issues with parking, and then initially we were stopping traffic right at Gray Street. So for the second event in November, we made some changes that,
The only thing I noticed today is the Taste of East Aurora has been announced for that day. So just, might want to make sure Shane knows he'll have
he does.
issues on both end of town.
We discussed that because last time it was on the same day. So we'll have to go a different route as far as hiring crossing guards and that staff.
I didn't see an insurance
Just got
certificate.
it this afternoon. We're all
Oh,
set.
you got it? Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Okay, thanks.
perfect. Any questions from the board? Okay, we're on the agenda, so you're good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we have the compost agreement with Orchard Park. Dave, you want to say anything about that?
We started this agreement 2 years ago, right before the pandemic. And the first year, we didn't get a lot of residents went to Orchard Park for the discounted. But now on the second year, they told me that the turnout's been actually really large. Amount of our residents are taking advantage of it. So we felt that it's a benefit to both the residents and for our own efficiencies to renew it. If you'll notice, it actually went down in price from what we paid this year. We paid $15,000 as our tipping fee. We were able to negotiate to $12,500. And then, we did agree to a $500 raise per year. So it'd be $12,500, $13,000, and $13,500. Since we've been doing it, minimal people complaining about not having the old rough mulch. I mean, there's still a few, but I think the benefits with the professional landscape mulch that they're getting now from Orchard Park have overweighed that. Plus, I think, our yard is quite a bit nicer now.
How do they
So-
charge, what's the cost of it? When
Well, what we originally did, Jim, is in the past, we looked at what we paid to have tub grinding done, and it was always a minimum of 10 grand.
No, I'm sorry. I meant for the residents to buy the mulch.
Oh, sure. And we're going to promote this better next year with a coupon in the advertiser. Residents of town of Aurora and Village or East Aurora can show up there with their driver's license and just prove residency, and they can buy the mulch at the same rate that the residents of Orchard Park get of $15 per yard, which compared to the nurseries in the area are about 35 or 40. It's a very good deal. So again, as word's getting out, I think more of our residents are taking advantage of that. And I think next year we were planning on doing a better ad in the advertiser to make sure people know it, because it's a good benefit for everybody, including village
Sure.
residents. And they dye it too, right? No, they don't. That's the one thing. It is just a dark brown. They do have a few different options of just straight wood chips, and also they have a compost material they'll sell too. But again, it's because we're getting the same rate as the residents of Orchard Park. It's a pretty good deal. If you were not from our town, I believe they're charging $25 a yard. I think Orchard Park does it like you were talking with the charging station. They're not doing it to make money. They're just trying to get rid of all the waste. So it's a good bargain for us to team up with them. Plus the efficiencies that we've incurred since we bought the grapple truck. Generally, we don't even use the chipper anymore. We're able to do the whole town now with one guy and one truck. So it's greatly improved our efficiency in that matter too. So I think it's a good win for us to sign this agreement.
Any questions?
No.
Great, we'll put that on the agenda. Yep, go right ahead.
As I know, Code Enforcement Officer Cassidy has another meeting after this, but I would just like to get on the record as far as the public hearing coming up, that in the building permit process, could you just outline a little bit of how that goes and what the drainage plan might entail and so on?
The drainage plan is required of all new builds within the town and village, and it is meant to show on a survey with the property, with the driveway turnaround and all of that, how the water that comes off those new structures and these impermeable surfaces will be maintained on that property. Whether it's, with a swale, whether if there was a creek that ran through the property, if they direct it to a conveyance in that manner. But what we stress is that the water from those new structures and surfaces cannot negatively impact neighboring properties, including snow removal. All the snow removal is supposed to stay on your property.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Busy night for you.
Thanks.
Just want to point out that we had the meeting booked first, so we're not the ones that are moving things around.
All right, next we have the SWIP review proposal for the ROC and our engineer, GHD. And they're proposing to charge $2,000, and that's the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan review. And as a town, we're able to pass that cost on to ROC, but we have to have our engineer review it. So it's a $2,000 fee that we pay up front that we get reimbursed, kind of standard with most of our developments. Any questions? No. Okay. Good. Put that on the agenda. I think it's there. Yep. No smoking law. We are going to table tonight. We have to tweak the local law a little bit. So that will be voted to be tabled then. And next, I have Carl Amendola is here. He lives on Mill Road in one of the houses right by the new development out there. And there's a couple of speed signs, one going one way that says 45, one going the other way that says 30. And he was just asking if there's a possibility of moving the 45 up, would be south past his house, so it's not so confusing to the motorists. And it's a county road, so I believe we have to send the request to the county. Is that correct, Marshall?
I don't know for speed limit signs.
Yeah, Jim, you'd have to request it, but there might be a regulation that they have to post within so many feet. I'm not sure that we can do that. That's usually an engineer, why it's put where it is, because it's at the village line is why it's different. So we could put the request in, but I would imagine you can't just move it out of the way down the road.
Well, we can't, we have to, again.
No, I know, but I don't know if they would be willing to do that, because generally you're supposed to let people know when the speed limit changes. So, but if you want, I can call them and ask, is that?
If we could at least just see, and if we can.
Just making sure I understand. So when you
As long
get
as-
to the village line, it has a 45 mile an hour and he wants it put like past the Aurora Mills.
Yeah.
I can ask, but I'll probably,
Well, as long
Give
as
a
they
good-
can give us a reason, I can give to him.
okay, I'll find out. No problem.
All right. Does the board have anything else for the work session?
Nope.
Really, Jim, I was approached by the Aurora Community Garden. I thought Shane might be here today, but has anyone gone down there and toured the garden that they have? I got some pictures that I can send. Yeah, it's cleaned up quite a bit. And Jared Byer wants to put together, I guess, me to put together a group, specifically two of us on the board here, maybe two people from the village, although I don't think they're participating yesterday. I wanted to get Shane and Roger down there as well to talk about how they can better work with us and make sure that they're doing everything that we want, if we want anything, but just to open up that line of communication and to walk around and see and show what they've done. I know there was a talk of the culvert pipe. They cleaned the path through there pretty good, but and they've got some old fencing up in the area.
Yeah, Dave and I went
Yeah, we met over there.
a month ago or so.
We never heard back from the roll-offs.
Yeah.
The roll-offs.
I have not heard another word.
We did rent a porta potty for them down there. I don't know if you noticed that, Luke. They requested that.
Yeah.
So
And
we did. put that there so that there's access to.
So they've made a lot of progress. I don't know, but if anyone does want to go, if there's two that want to go, I don't have to, but
It certainly is good to see progress being made there because we went through many years of infighting.
yeah. So I think if anyone really wants to go, let me know. We can do it. Then we'll try to set something up with them. But I don't know what it is we can do or what they want, but good to have that line of communication. So.
Sure. Okay, at this time, we'll take just a 5-minute break, and at 7 o'clock, we'll have the public hearing. Okay, this will start our regular town board meeting. And tonight, we have a public hearing on the Wilshire Road ODA. And I will open this public hearing at 7 o'clock. If you wish to speak, please come up and use the microphone. Please hold that close to your mouth and identify yourself and give us your comments on that. Is anybody here for the ODA? would like to talk?
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you, Town Board, for having me here. My name is Robert Kozowski. I'm the resident at 830 Willard Shire, directly adjacent to the ODA lot. And I'd like to thank you again for allowing me here. And for the record, I'd like to correct my letter that I sent. I found out after the fact that it had already gone through the planning board. So I'd like to amend that for the record so that we have that officially on the record. Essentially and I'm glad that the code enforcement officer mentioned about the drainage, because that's one of the primary concerns of my property. I have some areas in there that are very poor drainage, near the road, way in the back where the wetlands are. I'm not in a DEC wetlands, but I believe those are Corps of Engineer regulated wetlands. I never basically delineated that myself because I didn't build anything back there. The issue that I also have is this has gone multiple times back and forth, as we're all aware here, and you've been very patient, and everyone else, my neighbors have been patient, the board has been patient, Mr. Morrow's been patient too. The original SECRA was a short form, and originally this was a multi-lot ODA. Now I guess it's kind of a single lot ODA because we're only looking at one lot being approved. And this would be, correct me if I'm wrong, an amendment to the ODA or a new ODA that would be filed, which would require a filing with the map cover with the county as well, or are we just looking at an amendment? I mean, I know you're still working on the process, and I'm not sure exactly how that will work. The issue that I had with the short form, and I deal with a lot of this in my profession, as far as SECRA and the like, is the site plan is really deficient. It's an old survey from 2004 that was amended by the applicant, not by Mr. Freeman. And I tried scaling off of it. I couldn't get a scale. As best I could, it was at 20 scale, one hash mark was 8.33 feet. So what Mr. Morrow does not need a variance. He can do everything he wants to do with his own land that he already has. He's looking for a reduced lot size, or it was, reduced lot size from the 3 acre requirement that the town currently has. That kind of increases the density of population overall on a per acre basis. And I don't know if that really is the intent of the town board for a rural residential area or residential agricultural area. The people that live in our area, both in Aurora and in Alma, they built or bought houses on Willard Shire because of the character of what we had. We did not want the living in a subdivision. And I'm sure pretty much everyone who's there now would probably agree with that thought. Also, the 4 criteria for, and this isn't really, I guess, a zoning rezoning, but it kind of is. I know that the board has the final authority over any type of variance. One of the main things is hardship. The hardship is self-created. Mr. Morrow has a house with land that he could sell all in one piece and get all of his money for him and his brother, and and they can go on their way. We have to live with what's proposed at the site. And I believe in private property rights, and I believe that people should be able to develop private property, but it has to be done in an orderly and fair way. So I know you were looking at a moratorium, and I don't know how that came out because I was looking for the minutes, and the minutes tend to be a little bit behind from a week or two. So I don't know where that stands. So this may even be moot, but I doubt it. We wouldn't be having the hearing probably if it was moot. The applicant is looking for a windfall at the expense of the town, its residents, and other residents from other towns. That's why in closing, I'm requesting the town board deny this request as contrary to the spirit of the current 2017 ODA law, as well as any future changes being contemplated by the board after the approved moratorium. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to comment at the public hearing?
Hi, I'm John Roden from Grover Road in West Falls. Yeah, I just want to comment briefly on the electric car issue. I really like what Mr.
This is a public hearing for ODA.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
There'll be a public comment.
We're close though.
I like where you were going though, I think, so we'll let you speak later for sure. Yeah.
I can get this microphone.
You can put it on the chair, maybe it's.
Well, then make
Okay,
me
okay.
swear.
Anybody else for the public hearing on Willis Shire Road?
Jim, Mr. Morrow is online.
I'm sorry?
Eric Morrow is online.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Morrow's online.
Go ahead, Mr. Morrow.
Hold on. There you go.
Mr. Morrow?
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Well, I just want to start by saying I appreciate the board's time in reviewing this and continued effort to move this forward. And I do want to take the opportunity to respond to the first speaker and let them know I definitely do appreciate their comments. And I do understand myself being an architect that the end outcome of a property really does need to be good. And I wouldn't in good faith bring the plan forward today that's before the board if I didn't think this was going to have a good outcome. So I just want to start by saying I think this is a really good essentially compromise between what was drafted first in 2004 and what the board has asked for in many meetings, which is to combine two lots. I think we really have not only reached a kind of mutual agreement, but I think we've struck what is the current code pretty close. And I'll share that, lot 3, could be bigger. It could meet the full 3-acre requirement. However, it would encumber significantly the front house, the existing house. So the request, I think, does have some hardship. It does have some, it would be very awkward to push lot 3 all the way to 3 acres. However, it wouldn't change the number of units that are on this site. So the density that I'm seeking tonight, I believe, is in conformance with the current code. And in order to reach that conformance, I've given up the front lot. And so I hope that people see the spirit of zoning being essentially applied here. And there was some give and take here, as board members know. There's what was thought and anticipated to be a buildable lot in the front that's no longer. So I just appreciate everybody's input on this. I appreciate my neighbors' input on this, and I do look forward to having and believe this is a nice site plan that meets the rural character of the area and also meets the intent of the code. I'm happy to answer any other questions and appreciate people's participation in this review. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morrow. Anybody else who would like to comment in this public hearing? Anybody else online, Luke? Nope. Okay, we will close this public hearing at 7:11. 7:11. Would the board like to discuss any?
Yeah,
Actually-
I would like to just kind of summarize where we've been and where we are. I know you've been with us the whole way and I've read your letters, et cetera. And I think we're all on the same page in that we're all trying to get to the intent of the ODA code and the protection of the neighbors, which is why it was put in place. So when Mr. Morrow originally came to us with the lots 1, 2, 3, and 4, you own lot 4 back there. He's now agreed to combine lots 1 and 2, which makes it a conforming lot because it's just going to be a road frontage lot at 2 and whatever acres. And he only needed 125 feet footage on the front of the road, so it's a conforming lot. Your lot is conforming, except that you have a variance, which brought you closer to the 3rd lot, right? So the intent of the ODA code is to keep people spaced, not to be stepping on each other. So we asked Mr. Morrow to protect lot 4, if we could put a restriction on the lot 3, which pulled it 150 feet from the back line. And we also shortened the front setback from the current house that exists on lot 2, of which he's pulling some property from. He could pull property from lot 2 and make it conforming. But if he makes it conforming, then it hurts them because they can go 50 feet from the line. He could have a conforming lot there, go 50 feet from the line. And that wasn't the intent of the ODA code. So I think with all the discussions that we have, we end up with 3 lots. There's only one variance, which is an area variance, which Mr. Morrow could mitigate by taking more property from the conforming front yard, and it would still be conforming. But he's agreed to the restriction on the setback, which we feel does justice to the ODA code. It puts it squarely between those 2 houses, gives you some room. Whoever builds on that lot, once it's going to be developed, still has to conform with the other codes of the ODA. You know, they're going to need to have, the only variance they have is the front yard, the area variance. So if they need a turnaround there, or they need, you know, the plan has to have the stormwater, whatever it needs, it's still going to have to go through that process. Sure. Sure.
You have to come up.
Could you come up?
You have to use the microphone. Otherwise, whoever is listening, Zooming can't hear.
State your name again.
Robert Kosowski, response to the town board. I understand that the drainage is very important. The bump outs in the current ODA that's built back there now. I didn't look at the site plan. I still haven't looked at the site plan, but I intend to eventually. I don't believe that they've complied exactly with everything that they were supposed to do as far as their drainage, because they drain their sump pump right in the back of my property. And I told Mr. Skalski about that. And then when they paved the whole driveway, the impervious surface, I understand that the driveway might be pitched properly, but there's still cross culvert pipes underneath there that go from his property where his lawn is into my property. When they originally put the utilities in, I thought that when they did the trenching that they were going to run the out to the center, to the road, to the roadside ditch, because it's an enclosed drainage system now. And they could have did that very easily. It would have solved the problem, but that didn't happen. So I want to make sure that if anyone builds on this other lot, that the drainage is taken care of, that it gets conducted out to the roadside ditch and not into my property, because I'm downhill from everyone. I get everyone's water at that point. I mean, that's just a matter of gravity. So, and you know, the bump outs, those weren't done. As far as for the emergency vehicles, God forbid we have an emergency. There has been emergency vehicles when Mr. Morrow was still alive. There was emergency vehicles that were over there that were right on that driveway at one time or another. And what if they couldn't get through for some reason or another? So it's a matter of, you know, I'd like to maybe see if we could do better the next time, if we're talking about the next time. But I still believe that they should create a larger lot. They should take some of that. The 3 acres, at least get closer to the 3 acres. Right now, it's a small, it's almost 3/4 of an acre less than what the requirement is at that point. So if the board could basically say, we need that lot to be a little bigger, because he's already taking the front lot. He has to have it resurveyed. He's going to have to do another map cover. And at least this way, there's going to be even more space between all the neighbors. So
The footprint of the house really isn't going to change if he takes even more additional property from that combined lot in the front of 1 and 2. He is taking some to make it, he is taking some off of the combined 1 and 2 to make it 2 1/4. So there's only a 3/4 acre variance, but it won't change the, what do you call it? The
Location of the house.
The location of where the house can be built.
Yes, yeah.
The
As is
footprint.
designed by the way that this board has it set up now, that house has to go within a very small envelope, which is, give or take, centered between the 2 houses, which is the best for everyone. That's the first thing. So where his front property line is on lot number, what is 1 now, is frankly irrelevant. It wouldn't change the drainage. You know, that swale that came down there forever, because we all went out there to look at the lot.
I know, we saw you.
And yeah, and that swale has been there since ever. That ran down on your property, and it's simply a 6-inch PVC pipe that's run into the ground to take it from one side to the other. But regarding the bump outs also, the bump outs do not have to be blacktop. The bump outs are just a hard pan, solid surface that will hold an emergency vehicle, which is 72,000 pounds. And if that isn't there, I would be extremely surprised, but I can't say
Well,
for sure.
in my conversation with Mr. Kramer several years ago, I think it might have been a year ago, before he retired, he acknowledged the fact that those weren't in there, and they were going to add those. Well, they're still not added. It's been over a year now.
Then we will bring that up to Code Enforcement Officer Cassidy.
And I don't want to make trouble, because I have to live there with my neighbors too as well. But I mean, I believe in following the rules.
I'm just saying that lots of times people don't see the bump outs because it's, it's hard pan. It's dug down 12 inches deep, and it's all compacted stone. But over time, grass grows on it, and they say there's no bump outs. That's all I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again.
And I'm not gonna do a mic drop here. You guys will do a meme or something.
Any other discussion?
When the person, this is just a question, when the person comes with a plan to build on the now lot 3, the neighbors get notified. Will the neighbors get notified that they're building?
I'm going to say that they will not get notified, because that's assuming we approve all the variances that are required, or the variance.
Right.
They will not.
Possibly have correspondence directed to my office for that purpose, or directed to that. Is there any way we can get that written up, or anything as far as notices to the neighbors that are behind also go to myself as well?
I don't know who he is. Could you
Sorry,
come up?
my-
Could you come up?
You have
I
to.
apologize.
Tell us who you are.
My air conditioning is out in my house, and
Oh, you thought you'd join us tonight for the AC?
actually, yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, if you could speak right into it.
All right.
Give us
It's
your
on.
name.
Andrew Kosowski, attorney for the Kosowskis, my parents. If it is possible to get the contact information for the code enforcement person, and then as far as the next steps in the process, if I could have the information directed by copy to us, I would greatly appreciate it for going through the process and whatnot. And as far as the communication is concerned, I would have had more time. I would have had a suit on, and I apologize.
Forward those to you?
It would just be easier if possible. If you guys can facilitate that, I can write up a letter or have a fax sent over to wherever, if that could.
Here's the rub. I can say that we'll do that. It's not a legal requirement. I don't think that.
No, it's courtesy. I'm asking
I
as
know,
courtesy.
But even to the notices when the building
Yeah.
plan comes, but we can ask our
Yeah.
Ms. Cassidy. who's
That would be
here,
fantastic.
to like put a
I
little note in that file and say, when a building plan comes for this lot, would you please notify the neighbor?
that would be amazing. I would greatly appreciate that.
And she
as a
probably
person.
doesn't have your address or your email address or.
I can
so
provide all that. I
If
have.
you could send that to her and just say
Yeah.
who you are and. you spoke at
Absolutely.
the board meeting.
You don't have a card for her at all, do you, by
I don't.
chance?
But she's on the website.
John, go on these to our website.
It's
Okay.
on there.
Yeah,
And I'll just
Right.
give you that. Okay. Thank you so much.
thank you.
There we go.
Good job.
Appreciate it.
Did you say Mr. Morrow is online, Luke? Mr. Morrow? This is really supposed to be discussion between the board right now. What
Oh, that's all right.
kind of extended public hearing?
Okay, I just wanted to quickly and briefly respond to the lot area size and just make the observation that lot 3 is 25% under the permitted 3-acre minimum. So there's a request for variance there. Lot 1, however, is 330% over the minimum. Lot 1 would only be required to be 0.75 acres because it has 125 feet or more of street frontage. So lot 1 is very much oversized for the minimum regulations. So I think the net between the changes we're proposing between lot 1, 2, 3 is really positive for spacing out buildings and meeting the rural character throughout its. Lot 1 is really generously sized by 330%.
Okay, anything else?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any further discussion?
It took us a long time, but Mr. Morrow and us are on the same page.
Anything else? Chuck? Luke? Good. Okay. Next, we have the approval of the July 26, 2021 work session and board meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Sue. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have audience. This is an opportunity for anyone to address any items that were on the agenda to the board.
You sure?
This time, I think we got you.
All right. I'll watch that mic too.
Just don't throw the microphone at us.
3 quick points, so we're not beating.
You have to, thank you. And we need your,
I think Luke makes a really good point about the idea of a public
your name,
good.
sir.
Sure, John Roden, Grover Road, West Falls.
Thank you.
You know, we subsidize all kinds of things in this town. We have baseball fields and merry-go-rounds and those nice flower pots on the side of the road. And we don't look at a payback for those. It's just a quality of life issue. And I think the having a car charging station is a quality of life issue. It's a nice statement about our town. It's not terribly expensive. So point number 2 with that, if we go with the kilowatt hour, I think we're moving to a point on the demand curve where you're just going to pretty much snuff out all the demand that you have for the thing. So you're going to be paying whatever it is, $500-600 a year for just a metal thing that sits in the lot and never gets used. And, you know, you're kind of stuck with the charges. Nobody's using it. So it becomes kind of pointless then. And the third thing, as Mr. Gunner pointed out, you have the issue with the freeloaders. So you solve the issue with the per hour charge. You know, if someone is plugging their car in, it takes them 4 or 5 hours to charge the thing, and it's going to turn into a pumpkin at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're not going to want to get out of the sack and walk down the block. They're going to just plug it in at home. You can charge all of these electric cars overnight with your 110 outlet, or if you're in a hurry, you can wire up a 220 outlet for a couple $100, but they're not going to keep paying 15, 20 bucks to charge the thing in overage charges for the parking spot. So if that's the issue, if the plowing's the issue and the people mooching off the town with their local charging, then solve that problem. Because it doesn't seem like it's being used excessively at this point. So if you want to, I don't understand why you'd want to dissuade people from using the thing, because you're not going to make any money off of it. You know, the usage is already pretty small. It's going to be a small source of income. You're going to be way down on the demand curve at the rate you're charging. So I don't know. I guess, you know, my question is, what's the point? Where are you trying to get to with this plan? Thank you.
I have a quick question for you though. Do you know what you're paying per kilowatt hour for electric when you charge your vehicle?
Oh, at home, you mean?
Yep.
I don't know. I asked Evan, he says it's about like running a window air conditioner. So, you know, honestly, I don't really know. It's our car just has a real limited range because it's a plug-in hybrid. So it's probably the equivalent of buying gas for a car that gets 80 miles to the gallon. So it's a pretty nominal amount of money, and it's a pretty nominal amount of driving. We got, you know, 25 miles of range out of that thing. So it takes us, you know, 5 hours to get 30 hours of range charging on a 110. We come in here on this 220 and we can charge it up in a couple hours, which isn't a huge savings, but it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of fun. And we can go walk around town and blow money on things and support the local economy. And it makes it a good, you know, I think it's a good thing for people to have it in town.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Joe McCann, 11 Glen Ridge Road. I'd like to echo what this gentleman said, and he kind of touched on it, but I think the board should consider the fact that an electric car owner coming to town with 2 hours to kill and nothing else to do has value. I doubt they're going to twiddle their thumbs. Just like you said, you're going to go to a restaurant, you're going to have a sandwich, maybe have a beer. I don't exactly know what the revenue share on sales tax is with the town, but I'm guessing that 45 cents is going to make that pretty quick. And to your point, Councilman Snyder, you did the math. Was that 105 straight days of usage to recover? Yeah. So, I mean, the money's never going to add up to anything, the per charge. But I also agree the freeloaders need to, if at a certain point you start charging per hour, it's going to get people to stop freeloading and charge at their own homes. And we'll truly get the benefit of people coming from out of town, knowing that East Aurora is the kind of destination that I can go with my electric car. I have an electric car. There's no place to charge. Oh, wait, I can charge behind Town Hall in East Aurora, and I can go to Taste, or I can go to the juice bar. That's something, the Elm Street Bakery, wherever. So I think that's something to consider before charging on that per kilowatt hour. I think the return on investment will be better not charging per kilowatt hour. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I know we gotta get
square
stand. Anybody else would like to comment on anything on the agenda? Anybody online?
If anybody online would like to make a comment, use the raise your hand function or text.
Nope. Nobody? Okay. We'll move on. Unfinished business, the Wilshire Road ODA. I understand our town clerk got a notification today that they aren't complete with their paperwork for the seeker and that, correct?
He
Or
was waiting for further opinion from his attorney from the last email
okay,
that I saw.
so we're going to be tabling that vote tonight and expect to vote on that next meeting. New business. The charging.
No, you got to vote on it. Unfinished business, you have to vote to table it.
Oh, vote to table. I'm sorry. I have a motion to table that Wilshire Road ODA seeker and resolution.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Okay. We've discussed the electric charging station. I would entertain any kind of a motion right now.
I don't know, turned into a waffler.
Yeah, I would,
I do have some concern about, we don't subsidize people's gas when they come to town either. I get Joe's point that there's some value to people coming in and spending time here. I also don't know how we, without policing who's walking up and using it, we don't have people abusing the system. It's just another thing to watch.
but one thing for sure is we're all agreed that we do want to extend the use, right? And we do need the software. So a motion could be that we move to, is it authorize Supervisor Bach to sign an agreement for the 5-year extension? And then, I don't know if we have to move this time, but also set an hourly rate after charging, after the 15-cent window of $1, I even do $2 per hour. And then everything else we can figure out later if you want. That's where I would leave it, but if the three of you are comfortable setting with 15 cents, then.
Well, here's where I am, is I understand what everyone has said here, but here's what I think is, what if we said, okay, we'll do the charging station and set this so that I don't think that we should subsidize people charging their car. I think that if it's costing them 11 cents an hour at home and they can get it here for 6 cents an hour, I think that's a pretty good deal. And I think personally, I think that's enough. I don't think that we should subsidize people because not everyone can come and enjoy this. Not everyone has an electric car. There's very few right now. Yes, we subsidize parks and we subsidize this, but for the most part, it's for many more people than the few people in this town. However, at the end of all of this, what if we approved everything we got to approve here, the upgrade and so on and so forth, and saw where it was at and set that fee for overcharging to pay for our costs? So if it was left there, and maybe it's $2, maybe it's $3 when they leave their car sitting there to charge it, or maybe we just have a small fee to plug in, in the beginning and not charge per kilowatt, something along those lines.
The other benefit now that I think of using this system and not charging right off the bat would be to understand the use and how much is being used. And then we really could see what happens if then we do start charging and the use is the exact same. We know that we're really not subsidizing anything, right? Then it is just people who are coming in, who are using this because it's a cheaper option than charging at home. It's not going to obviously be 100%, but if we do not charge in the beginning, then we would have that data to be able to compare. And it could be something like till the end of the year, we won't charge, but we'll monitor. And then we'll have the specific data of how many kilowatt hours we're using, and then we can make a decision.
We've already done that for 4 years. According to Elizabeth, the only way to calculate the usage is by charging. Is that correct?
But how do we know that it's used 9 kilowatt hours?
Lower the price per kilowatt to 6 cents or 10 cents or whatever, 5 cents.
But the application, doesn't it show that there was 9 kilowatt hours this week?
That's what's used.
Right.
So how much?
It varies every day. So today it's one thing, tomorrow I'll go in, it's completely different. So what I really wanted was to charge something because we need to recoup the cost.
Well, I would disagree with that statement. I don't agree that we need to recoup the cost. But how does it not, and that's a decision for the town board to be making, is whether or not we want to recoup the cost. But how is it that we cannot calculate how many kilowatt hours we're using? If every day it changes, that's fine. Every day it's different.
it's connected to the senior center. So I spoke to NICEAC, I spoke to Plug In and Put It In, I spoke to ChargePoint, many people. And the closest we could get is 6 cents, but that's not a finite number.
No,
And that was
not how
only
much
for
it costs
last
per
month.
kilowatt hour, how many kilowatt hours is using?
I don't know, because it's connected.
We don't know
to the
because
senior
we
center.
haven't measured it yet.
So if we charge something, I can know
We can
what it's
measure
gonna
it.
be.
Yeah.
And then we could change it based on what's being used.
Doesn't the app tell us that right now, how many hours it's been used? Right, if you go on the app right
We
now.
have no app.
We're not,
Hours.
We have no app.
This is what this is all
This is
about.
just being plugged in.
We've had this going for, about 4 years now. And we haven't charged anything.
So, but I thought you need the app to, we're paying for the
You
software.
need the app to pay
Which is
to,
the app as well. So that the software and the app would.
you need
determine
the app to be able to charge.
Right, well, the app we're getting, right, we need to know we need to get that.
Right.
So we'll have the app, if we don't charge, the app will still tell us how
You need
often
the
it's
app to
been
plug
used.
in right now. So I'm using it. You can see.
right, we don't have the app to track
We
it.
don't have
so We're not tracking it.
Yeah.
On our end.
Can I show you?
No, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I get it from your end.
We're in
We're not able to track it
discussion with the
on
board
ours.
right now. But so someone would, if someone had to go from not paying anything to, let's just say 10 cents a kilowatt, they would not use it? They wouldn't pay the 10 cents?
How much would that?
You can't judge by the car. The Prius doesn't use hardly any. The Tesla uses a ton. The Volt that's parked there all the time uses a ton.
No,
You can't just go by.
basically the same. Both have a 30-mile range.
Volt is a completely electric car.
No, you're thinking of a Bolt.
Okay, sorry. But anyway, my
So
point
if
is,
we
you can't
charged
just-
you, you're saying if we charged you exactly what you pay at home, you wouldn't charge it here?
Yeah.
Okay,
If I,
okay,
if-
that's fine.
Yeah, because
So you're
currently
looking,
currently we get a subsidy for charging at home because we have an electric car. We have to apply for it, but it's part of National Grid.
We get that. But if we charged you half of what it cost you at home, you still wouldn't come in.
I mean, I'd have to put in a credit card to the app. I've never.
I say
ever
don't
paid for
come.
Charging in Buffalo. So
You know?
All right,
I just don't park at the Buffalo parking garages. Everything else in New York basically is free.
Well, I
Unless
don't
I
know
want
about
to go to like Fisher Price to the employees on the
Yeah.
parking. So.
All right, so
we may find that a lot of people did what we did, like all these things are free right now because everybody's coming up on their 3rd and 4th year and now you're gonna find yourself being charged because everybody's gonna come up with the same dilemma.
It's a really
I
marginal
don't know that,
purchase.
but.
It's a really marginal purchase because, I look at it as saving 40 cents in gas. It's like, who cares? I'm not going to walk an extra block to go to Elm Street. I'll just park at Elm Street rather than using this thing here. And then you get a situation where nobody's using it anymore. It just, I think a lot of people are just kind of like right on the edge and pushing over.
I would make a motion that we try this for 1 year and see what shakes out and how we want to approach this and take it from there.
You know what, I would go with, if we think it's 6 cents, right? I mean, we don't know if it's right, but that's what we think. We think it's about 6 cents. Let's charge us 6 cents.
oh, wait, we have a motion on the floor,
Charge
so
6
we'll let
cents
the,
and $1 after the
Yeah.
time it charges.
all right, so do you want to withdraw your motion or
Does that
you?
make sense?
I will add what Sue said to my motion is that with the understanding that we will charge 6 cents per kilowatt hour and with a fee of, after charged fee of $1 every 15 minutes.
It's $2 an hour here.
$2, okay, $2 an hour.
Can we do this in 3 different motions? First motion to approve the
Well, first of all, if we have a motion, you got to either withdraw it and
or second. Well,
and we're not in that discussion. We're in the second, so do you want to withdraw that or?
No, I'd like to know where everybody is.
Okay, do we have a second for Chuck's motion?
I mean, I'll second it, but I get why Luke wants to do the other one.
Okay, now we got a second. Now we can discuss what you want to discuss.
What was the motion again? To charge 6 cents or?
Charge 6 cents and $2 per hour after
After it's
charge.
charged.
15 minutes.
So that,
I would prefer 3 separate motions or 2 separate motions. First motion being to extend to pay for the software and extend it for 5 years.
That is a Separate motion, yes.
The second motion would be to charge $2 an hour after use, so 15-minute free period and then charge after use. And then the third motion is the loser motion, where you three can set the rate that
6
you like
cents.
and I'll make it.
Any further comment?
No,
You
I don't have any problem voting that way.
Okay,
So,
can you repeat that motion?
well, we have to withdraw.
You have to
Can we-
withdraw your other two.
can we
They have to
withdraw?
withdraw theirs.
I'm not going to withdraw my motion.
Yeah, he made a motion. This was just
Sue
discussion.
seconded it.
You can't
If
make
wanna
another
vote on it
motion.
and vote no, then
Yeah.
let's do that.
Okay. Can you just repeat it though?
Okay, sure. I would like to make a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign on for the app fees of whatever that was, along with the upgrade to 4Gs, with the understanding that we would charge 6 cents per kilowatt hour and then $2 per hour for an after charge fee.
And the only thing I would add to it is, are you talking about the 5-year plan, the 1-year plan?
1 year plan.
1 year
plan.
1-year plan.
Yes,
Why the 1-year plan?
because it seems like there's a lot of things up in the air that we just don't know. Are we sure that we want to stick with this after 1 year?
All right, just, all right, do I have a second to Chuck's motion?
You already did.
Yeah, I'm not going to second that. because
Oh,
I
you
want to
you
find
seconded it, right? So that was seconded by
I'm not
Sue.
going to, though, this one.
What's that?
I'm not going to second this one.
Because of
Because
the
I
1 year?
want the 5 years.
Because you want the 5
Because I
years?
think that in general, I see that we're going to keep we're going to keep it whether we charge or we don't charge. So I'd rather have the cheapest
All right,
yearly fee.
then I'll rescind my motion and you can make one, Sue.
Okay, so.
You need to
I-
rescind, well, you need.
No, I'm going to rescind my second.
Okay.
Okay,
You have a
thanks for
motion.
keeping us.
Did you rescind your second?
If she
Yeah,
wants
I
to
did.
amend that motion, that's fine.
I want to amend that motion.
No, I'm just going to rescind it because let's just rescind it. Let's start again.
Let's start again.
Right.
Thank you.
No.
And I don't really have any problem going the way Luke is suggesting, that we vote for one, we'll go for a vote for the software upgrades, then we'll go for a vote for the $2 an hour, and then we'll go for a vote on the rate. Because I think we'll probably get Luke on 2 out of 3 of those, but that's what I think, right? Is that what you want? Okay. So the first motion I'll make, and I'd say I would like to put a motion on the table to sign up for the 5-year plan for the tracking. What was the name of the app?
It's iCloud software.
The iCloud software.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
I move
Oh,
to,
Aye.
I move to set a rate of $2 an hour after usage, after charging is complete with a 15-minute
Grace.
grace period before the charge kicks in. Starting, when is this gonna start?
Whatever you say.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. We're just only talking about the after charge.
Okay, second by Sue. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's carried.
Okay, now I'll make a motion to set the rate for charging at 6 kilowatts an hour. Is that how you say it?
6 cents per.
6 cents per kilowatt hour during the charging time.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
If-
Aye.
Opposed?
I know this is gonna mean I have another month of cleaning Supervisor Block's bathrooms, but nay.
All right. So we
It's okay. We can all agree to disagree. It's good.
thank you, Elizabeth, again. You got all that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yay, yay, yay.
All right.
6 cents, 5 years.
$2. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for your efforts.
All right, next is the temporary use permit for the cross-country event on September 11th, to be set up on September 10th for the East Aurora High School cross-country. We've got the parking and plan, and Martha has the insurance. Any questions on that? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Sue. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have the compost agreement with Orchard Park. And it's for the sum of $12,500 for year 2022, $13,000 for year 23, and $13,500 for year 24. Do I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign this agreement?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Chuck, seconded by Sue. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have the SWIP proposal for rock. And this is from our engineering company called GHD. And they have proposed to charge $2,000 to do the stormwater pollution prevention plan for the rock development. The town would have to pay that and then will be reimbursed by rock. Any questions? Not. I need a authorization for the supervisor to sign this agreement.
Second.
Motion by Luke, second by Sue. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, we have the no smoking set public hearing, but we are going to table that tonight because we still have to tweak the local law. So I need a motion to table the no smoking public hearing. Motion by Luke, second.
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Do we have to vote on the Mill Road sign, or is Dave just gonna ask them?
You just want me to look at it.
Yeah, so I don't really think we have to vote on that, do we? Okay. Vote. Dave Gunner's gonna take a look and get back to me on that. That's all we can do. Okay, next, the Erie County snow removal revised of additional lane miles. Dave, can you chime in on that?
Just a small portion of Falls Road that we already have 3 other roads we have to journey on to get to anyway. So it's just to improve our efficiencies and the counties, so a little more revenue. I'm sure we can handle it.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. It is a hill though, so it's definitely going to be a challenge, but I think, the fire department actually is happy we're doing it because they think we might do better, so.
No doubt in my mind. We have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the Erie County snow removal revised additional lanes agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Sue. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, we have a budget transfer from Martha Lierbach for cleaning services. It's from $10,508.86. Martha, is that what you're transferring from? I don't understand that.
Yeah, taking $10,588 from the cleaning services line and putting it into the R&M line where it was taken out of by mistake.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve that transfer?
So
I'll make
moved.
that motion.
Motion
I'll
by Chuck
second.
and second by Sue. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that's carried. Next, we have a donation of $569.80 from Janet Fayette of East Aurora. And this is to the Senior Citizens Center, and it's to be placed in the TA 1000.900. The donation is to be used towards repair of exercise equipment. Have a motion to approve? Motion by Luke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sue. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, we have communications and reports. We have the June and July dog control and work requisitions. We have the July 2021 senior, town clerk, water clerk, and supervisor. And we have the New York State DOT request for the speed limit on Knox denial. Another one denied. We were asking the DOT to change the speed limit on Knox Road because of all the activity going on there now, but they seem to think it's okay. Maybe we revisit again, keep knocking on the door, but we only got one so far since I've been in office. It was a surprise. Next, we have business from the board members. I'll start with Luke.
Thank you to Donna for taking 200 face masks over the library, like within 5 minutes. So, because the library, I think, is requiring masks again, so she took them over there. And it was like, I wrote an email and her response was like 5 minutes later, I took them over already. So thanks to her for doing that. I think that's it.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Chuck?
Yes, I was informed that we being the town for our beautiful building here, we won the first place award in the Business First of Buffalo Brick by Brick Award.
Oh, nice.
It's an award through the entire Western New York counties. I think Paul said it was the 8 counties of Western New York, and there's different categories, and we won the commercial upgrade, I should say, award, which was pretty
Nice.
cool.
Very cool.
Very nice. And I have nothing tonight, so we'll go right to audience. Is there anybody who would like to comment on anything at all? Hey, Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave Peltan from Church Street. I just wanted to say I was really pleased that I didn't have to wear my sweater this evening.
We get the air conditioning works when the town's here. That's- Anybody else? Staff reports. Steve? Nothing? And nobody online?
Is anybody online? No?
No. All right, I need to move, motion to approve the abstract.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Sue. Do I have a second? Second by Luke. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. And a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Wow, that's something different.
No, Julie.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried.